Hello, HamCorp employees. I feel that I've done you a disservice because most of you are modded Minecraft fans, not RuneScape fans. So I want to quickly just talk about why this is a challenge run and how it's different from the regular game. Because I think that there's actually quite a lot of overlap between modded Minecraft and RuneScape. Surprisingly so. There's a lot of shared DNA, but they are quite different games. So let me give you the rundown. If you are familiar with RuneScape, then maybe you can just, I don't know, skip to the timestamp on the screen right now, because I'm not really going to say anything that you don't already know. So let's start with the main restriction, chunk locking. Right, normally you are not chunk locked. You can go anywhere. And normally you start in this town, Lumbridge. You spawn right here, and there's a bunch of quests you can do. You can talk to people, you can train all of your skills, you can go woodcutting, you can go mining, you can do whatever you want, absolutely whatever you want. And of course, you can leave Lumbridge if you feel like it too. Usually people go west or they go north, you can go east, it really doesn't matter. You have total freedom in whatever you want to do in this game. What makes it difficult for me with my chunk locking restriction is I cannot train all of these skills. For example, fishing. There's no body of water here, so I can't go fishing. It's just not possible. This entire skill is locked. The reason I have some XP is because the tutorial gives you some. Another example would be woodcutting. Now there are trees in my chunk, so if I had an axe, I could go woodcutting. But there is no way to get an axe inside of this chunk. So that skill is also completely locked away. The fun in restricted game modes like this is it encourages you to dig deep into information about the game, usually on the wiki, sometimes not, but 99% of the time on the wiki. And you can very often find really weird ways to get out of these restrictions. So one example is that there are these little thingies that fly by every now and then called implings, and you can catch them if you have a high enough hunter level, which I don't, unfortunately, but if I did, I could capture them, and maybe they give me an item that unlocks a skill. Maybe there's an impling that gives me a hatchet, and then I can start chopping down trees. And that's a whole skill that's now unlocked to me. Now earlier I also did say that there's some shared DNA between RuneScape and Minecraft. There's a lot of optimizing that you can do in this game. Efficiency-scape is totally a thing. So if you like optimizing systems, and you probably do if you play Crytek New Horizons, then there's a lot to optimize in this game. Optimizing your armor for the situation, optimizing your training methods, optimizing how you spend your time in the game. One thing that is different about this game and that game though is that there is a lot of luck involved in RuneScape. A lot of the mid to late game and also the end game of RuneScape is killing the same thing over and over and over to get a, 1 in 5,000 drop. That is game changing and typically a major progression milestone. Those grinds can be painful, and because they're luck-based, you can go super dry, or you can get it on the first kill, and that's kind of the fun of it. So I hope this explanation has given you a little bit more context as to why I'm doing this, and why I think you might find it surprisingly enjoyable as a modded Minecraft player. Obviously it's not total overlap, so if you don't find it interesting, that's totally fine as well. But yeah, now let's get into the episode. Just got to level 10 mining. Another 5 levels to go. And then I can start mining the iron over here. It's probably going to be a little bit slower at level 15 itself, but change of scenery, whatever, it's fine. I need time to edit the video anyway. Sometime later, 15 mining. I can now mine iron. Let's do just that. Hey, my first diamond. A free plus 2.2k to my net worth. Amazing. Here's 20 mining. And look at this calculation. So I need to mine another 936 iron ore to get to 40 mining. That's actually surprisingly not that bad. This should be done pretty soon. Hello, Captain Arnav. What have you got for me? A gold bar. It's actually not worth a lot. I think I'm gonna go sell it, to be honest. 30 mining. Honestly, not as bad as I thought it would be. Now, if you don't know, XP growth in old school RuneScape is exponential. In the early levels, it's maybe not quite so exponential, but Once you get to like level 30, 40, maybe a bit higher, like 50, it's pretty close to exponential. And it's exponential, meaning the XP for level N plus 7 is twice the XP of level N. So getting to 92 is halfway to getting to 99. Getting to 85 is halfway to getting to 92. Getting to 78 is halfway to getting to 85. And that kind of starts around here. It's not quite as good of a fit for low levels, but getting to 30 is about halfway to getting to 37. So I'm less than halfway to 40, is what I'm trying to say. I will not move from this tile until I'm done. I also stopped selling the iron ore because it is not worth enough to warrant the trip back. And 40 mining. And this means I can mine some gold. Absolutely amazing. Okay, that's the whole chunk. The first chunk is done. Time for a big decision. Now, this right here is Chunk Picker. This is a website you can use to play your Chunkman mode, and I've been using it, and it's really nice. It is missing all of the sailing stuff, because sailing is new, so I imagine it just hasn't been updated yet. So there may be more tasks than what it appears to be on the active chunk tasks list. With that out of the way, let's talk about some plans. Now, since I've completed all the content in my current chunk, I need to plan ahead. First of all, I still need to reach a total account value of 50,000 GP, but once I do that, since I'm unlocking a new chunk through labor and not through purchase, I don't need to discard my items. And I can choose the next chunk. I can choose any chunk on the entire map, but I can't really travel to anything except for one of these 4 adjacent chunks. So that kind of cuts down on my options quite a bit. As for which one to unlock, yeah, that's a good question. Like I said before, I do really want to get into sailing. It's what made me want to play RuneScape again in the first place. It's a recently released skill. So I am leaning towards unlocking Port Sarim because that's where everything starts. Option number 2 here, going south, is a bit problematic because this little house right here has Thurgo, and Thurgo sells the smithing skill cape. And because Thurgo lives in this chunk, if I unlock this chunk, I need to get 99 smithing as soon as I'm able to train smithing. Luckily, I'm not able to train it yet, but this is kind of a problem. So I don't think I'll be choosing chunk number 2. Chunk number 3 here to the west, which has Melzar's Maze and a farming patch, and also the Chemist. This is kind of a useless chunk. There's not really anything here. If I unlock this, there's nothing to do. There's a few easy tasks that I need to finish, but as soon as that's done, I just need to grind more account value so I can unlock another chunk. So it's kind of pointless to unlock this. There's really nothing here. And finally, chunk number 4. This chunk actually surprisingly has more stuff than you would think it does. There are guards here on the top right near the entrance to Falador, and pickpocketing them needs 40 thieving. So I'm gonna have to pickpocket Anya and Hengel over and over until 40 thieving, which is fine, I can do that. The reward of being able to pickpocket guards is not really worth it. There's also a shop here where you can buy chain bodies, so that's kind of nice. There's armor, but if you look at chunk number 1 again, there are a lot more shops, and I can buy a lot more things here. So pretty much everything is telling me unlock chunk number 1. But before I do that, I still need to make sure that my account value is at least 50,000, which it is not. And I am pretty sure the best way for me to do this is to gather more herbs, which I can do by continuing to kill Anya and Hengel. So I'm going to do just that, and I'm going to keep training my stats. I am now worth 50,000 GP. Let's go unlock Port Sarim. Welcome employees to Port Sarim. This is going to be my home for who knows how long. I need to walk around and take note of all the possible tasks and things that have been unlocked. I know that the chunk picker tool is going to be very helpful and give me a lot of that information already, but because it hasn't been updated to account for all the sailing stuff, anything that has to do with sailing, I need to figure out myself and make note of. That shouldn't be too bad, but there are a lot of things that have been unlocked. Let's walk through this whole place. I'm gonna start up here on the top right, and then go west, and then go south, and make note of everything that's been unlocked, and also everything that I now need to do. So starting here in the northeast side of the chunk, I now have access to a farming patch. This is not a patch that I can plant anything in, because that is too high of a level, but I can rake the patch and take the weeds out, and that gives me a small amount of farming XP. So technically, I've unlocked farming now. Raking weeds is terrible though. You get 12 XP per every hour-ish, or 45 minutes or something like that, and that is not a good rate. So I'm glad I don't need to train it for anything else, but I do need to rake this at least once, and that is a task. Over here, I have an agility shortcut that I am not able to use, but if I ever get agility unlocked, I'm gonna have to train it up to the point where I can use this, and that is at 42. Besides that, there are willow trees here, oak trees as well, and normal trees. I still don't have access to an axe, so I don't need to worry about these. But if I ever get an axe, I'm gonna have to come back and chop down these willow trees. Veos here will transport me to a land far, far away, but I'm not going to worry about that just yet, because I don't have access to those chunks anyway. Similar thing here with the monks of Entrana. Entrana is not too far. It's over here, but it's a little problematic because you're not allowed to take armor or weapons onto this island. So if I want to go there, I'm going to have to drop all of this stuff. Well, there is a bank deposit box, so I could deposit it away for the future, but I don't have access to a bank, so it's kind of the same as dropping it. Next here in the northwest side of the chunk, we've got Brian. Brian sells battle axes. And this adamant battle axe I need to purchase because it's a best in slot item, and I need to wield it, which needs 30 attack. This is going to be my best weapon in this chunk, and probably for quite a while, I would imagine. So that's something I need to do. There is also, I believe, an imp spawn. Not impling, just an imp, and imps drop blue wizard hats, along with pots of flour, both of which are relevant. The blue wizard hat is my best in slot magic helmet, and the pot of flour will be used to make pita bread. This needs quite a high cooking level though. 58, that is pretty high. This building has nothing in it. It has a water source and a fireplace, that's about it. This shop, Betty's shop, is very useful. She sells runes, including mind runes and air runes, which means I can start training magic. And I need to, because she also sells death runes, and I need to cast Fire Blast, which is a level 59 magic spell. This is probably going to be the most painful grind. Oh, wait, she sells a blue wizard hat. I don't need to kill imps. This is much easier. The next shop, Grum's shop, is a jewelry store, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, he doesn't actually sell anything, he only buys things. So this is kind of a useless shop. The next house has nothing in it, just some men that I can kill, and also a cooking range. And also for some reason a pole booth. Okay. Over here is a manhole that leads into the rat pits, but I'm not allowed to go in there. I need to do a quest, and that is a quest that needs a lot of traveling, so it's not a quest that's going to get done anytime soon. There are thieves here. I don't know what they drop, but I don't think it's anything special. And the next shop, Garen's Fishy Business, sells a bunch of fish stuff. So I think this is going to be my main way of training cooking, because I can cook sardines, and I can buy them here. Fortunately, in Port Sarim, there are surprisingly no fishing spots, so I actually can't get my own fish. I have to buy fish from Garrett, and that is going to be my training method. The next shop here has Wyden, and Wyden sells food. Oh, he sells pots of flour. Okay, I don't need to kill imps. The imps are totally irrelevant. Good to know. We've also got these 3 seamen and their captain, Tobias. They will take me to Karamja. That is this big island over here. Specifically, they're going to take me to Musa Point. I will, of course, need to purchase this chunk before I'm allowed to go there. And this chunk is the problem chunk. Remember, this has Thurgo in it. So, kind of hesitant. I may never use these guys' services. At least not for a long time. We've also got Clarence here. He is a quest NPC used for the Dragon Slayer quest, but I think besides that, he's pretty useless. And finally, we've got the Squire. The Void Knight Squire takes me all the way to Void Knight's outpost, which is over here. This is a pretty useful chunk because it has a bank. That would be really, really nice. So I'm actually considering purchasing this really soon. In addition to a bank, it has a minigame called Pest Control. And this minigame is probably one of the better ways for me to train my combat stats. And it also makes me money. So this is a pretty powerful chunk for me to unlock. Though I don't know if there are any crazy grinds unlocked by unlocking this chunk. So I'll have to look into that before using the Squire services. And finally, there's a couple of new things. These are related to sailing, so I had to investigate this myself. And there is a quest here. This quest needs me to unlock quite a few chunks. At least 4 of them. These 4 chunks need to be unlocked. That's a lot of chunks. And building up my account value to, what? The next one is 100k, 150, 200, 250k. Holding that much money in my inventory is going to be maybe impossible. So I think I have to unlock the Void Knight's chunk first before I can do anything with sailing. So that is my tentative plan. However, I'm going to have to choose to unlock this chunk because it's, separate from my current group of chunks that I've unlocked. Which means I do need to do all of these tasks, and luckily, none of them are that bad. Oh, I forgot to mention, I can do Witch's Potion. This is a quest that starts in Remington, but it needs items from Port Sarim, so it wasn't possible until now, but now it is possible. So that's another thing I need to do. All right, let's get this going. So first things first, I need to clear up some inventory space. This is getting ridiculous. I'm gonna deposit stuff into my bank. And this actually leads me to a question that I don't really have the answer to. I don't have access to a bank right now, right? So anything I deposit in here, I cannot pull back out. Should I still count the value of those items in my wealth calculation for unlocking new chunks? I don't know what the right thing to do is. I think for anyone else who's planning to do a money-based Ironman, they can always start in a chunk that has a bank. So maybe I should be allowed to just, run off to a bank and check the value for when I am actually doing a wealth evaluation to unlock a chunk. Maybe that should be allowed. I don't know. Maybe you guys can let me know what you think, and then I'll decide later. I don't think I'm going to need to know the answer to that for this episode, so there's some time for me to think about it. I don't know, maybe there's also like a RuneLight plugin that keeps track of everything in my bank. I don't know. I have no clue. Does the bank deposit box tell me? No, it doesn't. Anyway, let's get started with banging out some of these tasks. Let's do some easy ones. So, raking a farming patch. If I trade the farming guy over here, Frizzy Skirnip, crazy name by the way, I can purchase a rake, and I can rake the spirit tree patch. There's also a tool leprechaun here, which is kind of nice because I can deposit my rake into his inventory, and he's basically like a mini bank for these specific items. I wonder now, are the tools worth more than what I can buy them for? They are, quite a bit more actually. Well, depending on the item. The rake, for example, seems to be one of the best items I can buy for bank value inflation at the moment. It's going to cost me 6 coins, but the GE average value is 150. So that's something to think about, and I'm pretty sure I can just buy this forever. There's no stock limit here. And I can store up to 1,000 of them in the tool leprechaun. Next, let's buy a blue wizard hat. That is a best in slot item for magic. Next, the quickest thing to do would be to actually finish Witch's Potion. So let's do this. Let me head back to Remington and start the quest. Hetty here is the quest start, so I'm gonna talk to her. She wants me to get an Eye of Newt, a rat's tail, an onion, and a piece of burnt meat. It should be pretty easy to get, especially with the Quest Helper plugin, which just makes all quests really simple. Click the highlighted blue thing. It's pretty brain dead. I might turn it off, because I actually enjoy quests, so I might just start doing them without Quest Helper. Let's also go pick up this onion. And here in Betty's Magic Emporium, I can purchase an Eye of Newt. And at Wyden's food store, I can buy some raw beef and cook it and then burn it on purpose. Cool. And that's all 4 items. All done. This is a pretty simple quest. There's not much to this. And done. Easy 325 magic XP. Quests in RuneScape are not repeatable, so that's something you may not know. So I can't keep doing this quest over and over to get magic XP. Now I just have to actually train magic. Legit. And now the fun starts. I need to obtain and equip an adamant weapon, and that is going to be the adamant battle axe. Let's see how much it costs. It's probably more than I have. 4,160 coins. Okay, I don't have enough. Which is fine, because I also don't have 30 attack yet. I do have thieves I can kill now, But I just looked it up, and they actually have exactly the same drop table as common men and women. So I'm just going to start killing common men and women because they're going to die faster. They have less health. Then I'll lock myself into this room with this man and go to town. Wait. Pause.